I have the beautiful Maudy here today. Welcome, Chrstine. Thank you for joining me on my Soul to Soul podcast.
Yeah, hi, Ken. Thank you for inviting me to join you. Very exciting.
I'm excited. Now, Chrstine, you are a Reiki master, past life and soul regression therapy practitioner, intuitive healer, and shamanic healer, as well as being a visual artist. I'm impressed. And my first question is, have you always walked this creative path of expression in your life? And how did your personal journey lead you to where you are now, living the life that you're living now?
Yeah, I think creativity has always been the center of my life. And also, I would say that I've been quite open to what was manifesting, and probably very lucky as well that from one idea, something would manifest. So yeah, I started my working life by studying psychology and then working with children, autistic children, and children with social problems, like children abandoned by their parents. Because I had a profound interest, I had a lot of childhood healing to do for myself. So yeah, I was really pushed to try to understand and gain tools to heal myself, my inner child. But at the same time, I was painting on timber and making all my clothing. And at one stage, my first husband, when we had met, we were 17 at high school, and we connected when we were 24, and he was looking at everything I was doing. He said, "Don't you feel it's a good time for you to make a choice?" And I thought, yeah, why not? Because I have this kind of art gallery with a couple of friends where I was selling my clothes and painting, and at the same time, creating all my clothing and for my girlfriend as well. And I thought, okay, let's jump into fashion. So I put all my money to buy a stall at the big fashion show in Paris. Absolutely no fear, no questioning, which now I think was quite strange, and it worked. And it worked. So I made a little collection. I found a lovely woman who had worked for very famous fashion designer and was retired, and say, okay, I will help you. So she helped me to do all the first models. And after the fashion show, I had orders from shops and wholesaler, and I thought, wow, how I'm going to make all this. And again, it happened. Met great people who had a little factory in Paris and started to deliver, and and did this for a few years. So yeah, I feel it has been mixing art and personal development, personal interest in the soul, basically in human nature, has been always kind of intertwined for me. It's when one is missing, I feel I'm not complete in some ways. So yeah, and also I think I'm lucky that when something is not working for me, it's very easy for me to say, okay, let's do something else. And I think that working with people, I know sometimes they find difficult to cut the link with the past, but for me it has been quite natural. I can't. It was just like living friends. If I feel it's finished, I need to make it happen. If not, I'm not happy, and if I'm not happy, I can't really live. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
Where did you learn to follow your heart? And because I feel like for a lot of people in life, we question that. We question whether our soul guidance is the right guidance to follow. So how did you come to understand that for you, this was the way to live your life in an intuitive way?
Because I think I'm I experience things in a very extreme way. So, for example, when I was born in France and lived in Paris for many years, and I loved the city, and I still do. But it just happened one day that I had a call to travel to Africa, to Sierra Leone, and I had a big, what I call now a big spiritual awakening. It's just like the land was suddenly talking to me, and indigenous people and the trees and the hill. And I came back and actually felt completely depressed. Suddenly I realized that the energy of the place was unbearable for me. And it happened, in 2 weeks, basically, 2 weeks in Africa. I came back and I felt I can't be here. So yeah, following my heart was not even a choice. It was, waking up every morning and feeling a void, feeling that something was missing, and really wanted to feel again what I had felt during this trip. So I went back and back and back many times, questioning, asking, myself, my guides, my family, because there were some traveling with me. What's happening? And then I realized, okay, I can't be here anymore, and we need to find a place. And I was lucky to have a partner who was really in tune with me. So, he could see that I was waking up every morning. I had a job, my company, public relation and event management, that I loved. Client I loved. I would have worked for them for free. We had such a beautiful relationship, and several women working for me in my team. It was a pleasure to work, but suddenly there was something broken. So I think for me, following my heart was, I think spirit basically kicked my butt. It was, okay, you can't be here anymore. You have something else to do. And I couldn't resist. It was unbearable. It was too much painful to say no, and I think sometimes it's like that. And I didn't have the time too much to think. It's now looking at the past, that I could see how driven I was, because I wanted so much to understand. And that, I decided I would work for this tiny little eco resort where we went the first time. And they were just opening their doors. They didn't have much money, and I took all my books with all the editorials I had for my client. And basically, I just went to convince them. I said, you need me. I can bring all the journalists you want to launch your hotel. And they say, well, yeah, we don't have much money at the moment. I said, that's okay. Pay me in plane tickets and free holiday. And they said yes. So I must have been very convincing.
I love too how every aspect of our life is linked to the next chapter. Whether we view it as completely separate, there's always a link there to help us move forward.
Completely. Yeah, I really feel, with time, that's the beauty of aging, is that more and more you can have this moment where you see the connection between everything. It's just like, I feel that life is just like we are these beautiful, colorful spiders making this giant web, and that everything we have done, every person we meet in life, every experience, every trip really is significant and contribute in making this masterpiece, because that's a masterpiece, the masterpiece of our life.
How did you find your way to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia, from Paris, France?
Yeah, well, again, I was seriously pushed by spirit, because after working for a few years for Sierra Leone and trying to understand this connection I had, I realized it was more with the land, with Mother Earth, Pachamama, than this place in particular. and I could see the dark side of Africa. And actually there was a war which was starting. But what happened is that several of my friends, you know, really soul friends, people I've known for a long time, I was so inspired by what was happening for me in Sierra Leone that they came on holiday with us, you know, to see. And one of these dear friends who was making an advertising movie was asked to make a movie. I think it was for Peugeot or Citroën French cars in Australia. So he was in Australia for some time, in Uluru, in Sydney. And when he came back, he called me and he said, Chrstine, I think that's the place you're looking for. I kept thinking about you. I even saw you. I saw you in Sydney. I saw you in Uluru. You should have a look. And he had little presents, you know, made by Aboriginal people that really touched me. So I listened to him. And we came for a first holiday just, you know, a few months after you return. I organized a trip arriving through Darwin, Kakadu, Great Barrier Reef, Sunshine Coast, Brisbane. And we kept, you know, meeting people that were moving to, French people were moving to Australia, and it really starting like buzzing, you know. And we came a second time, and then something really strange happened, is that my ex-husband was invited by the Australian embassy, by Austrade, as a businessman, because he was, you know, the king of direct marketing. And his company was an example of success. So often he was asked to talk, and Salian Atkinson, who was the representative of Austrade, contacted him and said, would you like to come to do an official trip with some French entrepreneur to Australia? So yeah, he said yes, you know, and travel, met Paul Keating at the time, and lots of different people. And then we were all the time invited at the Australian embassy, and we became, you know, quite good friends with the Australian ambassador and Salian, who really developed a good friendship with Salian Atkinson. Yeah, and you know, and then it was obvious. It was obvious that's the place, and every time we were traveling, we did another trip through Sydney, Adelaide, Kangaroo Island, Perth. We went a bit everywhere. And every time we were coming back to the Brisbane Sunshine Coast, and we thought it's perfect, you know, very close from an international airport, subtropical weather, lots of sun, not today. And yeah, and we felt we could settle there, and it was easy. So when it's easy, I think it's right, you know. So,
always,
yeah,
always.
Yeah.
That's the way I live my life. When it flows and it feels
Exactly.
easy, then
Yeah.
it's my tick that I'm doing the right thing or heading in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'd love to segue across to the energy healing modalities that you have integrated into your life, and you teach and you guide and mentor people around. And they are, for me, different modalities. So I wanted to start by asking you, how do they help us in our lives?
Yes, well, I think in some ways, they are all connected, but because of our past and our emotions and what we need to heal or expand or discover, some might be the entry, the door to enter, you know, this amazing work we can do ourselves of self-knowing and self-developing. And for me, again, it has been quite logical how it works, you know, because my first entry in understanding energy was through the energy of the land in Africa, and then the energy of the land here. And then, of course, someone gave me an amazing book by a master shaman who lives in America, in Monsashta, And it was, really joining the dots completely. And I thought, I really want to meet this woman. I want to work with her. And, spirit helped. She came to Coulomb, to of all places, when I was ready to fly over. She came to Coulomb, and a friend invited me to join a workshop. And then I did many retreats and workshops with her. And I realized that shamanism and the way she was working, which is healing the rainbow body. The rainbow body is our luminous energy field, and it's basically your body and all these layers and all these webs of energy around us. It was really understanding energy and how something from the past, from your childhood, from your birth, from maybe a past life, could be still having an influence in your life. And I thought that's really fascinating. So I did my first, a lot of healing on myself and my family and my lineage. And also I started really to understand the quality of energy and how the energy we were sending would attract different things in life. And people, it's really by, it's very similar in Reiki in many ways, because it's an understanding on how our mind, emotions, and also our past and our energy are working together. So yes, some people would prefer to start by shamanism and journeying and developing their connection to the land and the element. And some people choose to enter through Reiki, which for me, worked after discovering shamanism and doing all this retreat and workshop. I met again, because I was invited to attend meditations. I met my teacher, my Reiki master, and I was fascinated by her energy and how gathering people around for this meditation and Reiki healing was, I could feel how it was working. And and then I decided to have a treatment, loved it, and didn't think 1 second I will become a practitioner and even less a teacher, but I think she knew.
A lot of people come into this world either experiencing supernatural experiences, or they discover they have intuitive powers that they want to find out more about. So when did you discover that you actually, I call them intuitive superpowers. When do you discover that for yourself? It sounds like you followed your fascination first for these two topics, and then perhaps you found that along the way. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly, because my choice was to experience, learn. I'm really an avid learner. I loved understanding, feeling. So I dived deeply into Reiki, into shamanism, and decided to learn. And it's while exchanging treatment with others that I realized that I was guided and something was happening. And, and even again, spirit was supporting me I remember doing the level 2 of Reiki. Coming back home, I was with one of the Reiki students to practice immediately. So we were really keen. And a bird just hit the window and fell on the deck outside, at my place. And we look at each other and I said, let's do it, And we started to give treatment to the bird. And it was amazing to feel that this energy channeling, and the bird starting to, open its eyes, standing back in my hand and then flying. And again, about trusting, I think, probably. trusting that you can become just a conduit for the light, a conduit for energy, wherever you call it, shamanic or you know, or Reiki energy. It's all the same thing. It all comes from the source, and you know, just manifest with different tools.
For any of our viewers or listeners who are not familiar with Reiki, could you share the basics of Reiki and how we can use it in our life to help us?
Yes. So Reiki is, you know, is of course a kind of energy healing treatment for people who just want to receive it, but it's actually a very complete system of energy healing and personal development. And that's why I love teaching it, because, and I even say to everyone that everyone should at least learn the level 1, because it gives you skills to take care of your own health and well-being and your own energy, and also help you to change your belief and your mind with, you know, it's very easy, with very simple precepts that you repeat, and little by little you become what I call the gentle observer of the mind. And when you start worrying, when you start, you know, questioning, being anxious, being angry, frustrated, you can just press the button stop and repeat the precept, give yourself Reiki if necessary, and it's gone. And little by little, you change. So it's really amazing. If you just want to experience a treatment, what happens when a practitioner connects with your energy is basically we can find, by just reading, scanning the energy and reading what's happening in the chakra and all around the body and in the body, we can feel where energy is blocked. And when energy is blocked, stagnant, heavy, when we had trauma, physical, emotional, mental, and even, you know, from past life, it happens, energy will be heavy. When I move my hand, I will feel like something very dense. And I know that I feel that I need to dispel, realign this energy. So yes, it's what Reiki is. It's amazing. It's very complete.
Can you use Reiki and shamanism together?
Yes, yes.
Ooh.
Yes, so I laugh a bit, because actually, you know, I started by shamanism for my personal journey. Then I met my Reiki master, learned Reiki again. It was for me, for my family, understanding what was happening, and I was immediately guided to practice and then to teach. And at one stage, you know, I was having a shamanic practice, but I didn't think using it. But at one stage, my youngest daughter, who you know, doesn't know yet completely, but is very guided, bought me for my birthday a book called Reiki and Shamanism. And she was a bit, oh, I hope you're not going to find it's too much. And I thought, no, that's just perfect, you know. And yes, I read this book, and of course, it was again a door. It was again, you know, something happening, because I started to read, to be interested by read from different authors. I had worked with Jessie Ayani for many years, but, you know, Alberto Villoldo, with another of my teachers' book, just basically fell in my hands. And, you know, and I thought I really want to deepen this connection. And yeah, and it just happened, you know. I did several workshops with Alberto Villoldo, and then thought I really would like to go to the Amazon forest and work with shamans. And yeah, and it just happened as well. So spent a few weeks in the Amazon forest in Ecuador, receiving amazing initiation, having incredible experiences with 3 different shamans, and you know, everything started to work together. And again, I felt I didn't have the choice. I had to use everything I had learned together. So yeah, I really feel, you know, it's really like when you love something, when you feel a connection, when you have a passion for something, and you just launch it in universe, you offered it to your, you know, to the people who are attracted by working with you, they can choose their entry. And a lot of them move from one to another because, you know, shamanism is part of our life, and energy and spirituality are also part of our life. So it's just, you know, flowing from one to another, understanding how it works, and just yeah, follow your heart, as you said before.
I find, I wholeheartedly believe that following our curiosity is another way that our guidance is guiding us and directing us in life. And
Yes.
so, and I also have noticed that your journey began whilst you were married to your ex-husband, and I always love to help those who might be in the same position. So someone who has joined a partnership and then they've jumped on their spiritual quest or what their journey. How did you integrate that with family life? Was it seamless, or were there hurdles to have to jump?
Yeah, well, I must say that, you know, I had really a fabulous partnership with my ex-husband, and we are still very connected, and we love each other, but we are living different lives now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably he always believed in me, in my artistic abilities, in you know, when I started to paint a lot when we moved to Australia, and he knew me. He had supported me when I started my fashion label, and today he still believes what, you know, in what I'm doing. It's just at one stage, probably my daughters were a bit surprised when I started really to work with energy, and a bit questioning the change, a bit, you know, a bit shy in some ways. But very fast, they started to send me their friends for treatment.
That's how they get their proof.
Exactly. And you know, and my oldest daughter Pauline actually learned Reiki with me, and she's amazing. And again, you know, she's busy, she's young, she does a lot of things, she has a lot of things to take care with her health, but I know it's part of her, and she will probably integrate even more when she's ready, because, you know, everyone has their path. And yeah, and my youngest one, so she hasn't learned Reiki or anything else related to this, but we are very connected, and she sent me a lot of people. As soon as one of our friends has been struggling, you should go and see mom. She will fix you up. So no, it was not too difficult. There was this moment, a bit more actually, with some friends that were really surprised, because I left France. You know, I was always the connector. I would organize big party, gathering weekend by the sea with all my friends, because I think I always loved the tribe, you know, and loved bringing my friends together. And when I left and came back every year, having changed more and more, and speaking about energy, and you know, a few of them were really quite surprised, until of course they needed me. And I think, yeah, everyone started to change a bit. They even one of them invented a word when someone was suddenly saying something very positive or whatever, say, oh, you're Christianized. Which is quite funny. But, you know, so it was not difficult. It was not difficult, and that was not really the cause of the end of my marriage. I think it was more yeah, moving in different, different spheres in different life, and yeah, he was in a place maybe too materialistic, still a lot of work to do on himself, and I was guided, and I think I needed to be alone for some time.
That's beautiful. I love that you talk about your friends, your children, and I wonder, is it our job to, because when we first discover this, it's very exciting, and we can want to introduce everybody to what we're learning about. And I wonder, is it our job then to tell everybody about it, or do we let people find it on their own?
Well, no, I think it's our job to be as we are. I don't feel that I really, well, people were asking me, what are you doing? And I said, I studied shamanism, or I read this book and loved it, or whatever. But basically, I just kept being myself, and but they could feel the change in energy, and I think that was bringing in the conversation on more on the effect of Reiki, or the effect of journeying, the benefit of journeying, or how past lives could still interfere in our life, and could be an obstacle that started to manifest again and again until we cleared it. Yeah, it just became, it's just like, yeah, I don't believe we can push people to discover this, but I can, and I more believe in leading by example and not being shy about what you are doing. And even if some people, it's not for them, that's fine.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, ritual and ceremony are such an important part of most modalities, and I know that you offer that with some of your offerings. So I wanted to touch on, why is ritual so important, do you believe?
Because I believe rituals have always existed, but our Western society disconnected from the sacred, what I call the sacred, which is basically simply stop, look around us, feel energy, share it with, just with yourself or with a group of people, and embrace gratitude. I think rituals are a lot about gratitude and the sacred in life. We can't just keep, having a very materialistic style of life where we consume and where we don't give back. And for me, a ritual, like when I hold space for a fire ceremony, it's really recreating what our ancestors were doing, which is, just bringing back the sacred, looking at the fire, feeling the earth, connecting with the four directions, the stars, the moon, and everything, the water, and being grateful for life. So it's a celebration of life and a celebration of community, which is so important. And these last few years, with what has happened in the world, a lot of people have been isolated. And I think a lot of people feel that community, support, connection, sharing is, really a vital part of our life, of being human. Human have always existed, in tribe, and we lost this. We don't feel it as much maybe on the Sunshine Coast, because it's more, you have still villages or little cities. But in big cities, if you look, cities like Paris, Hong Kong, Toronto, all these big cities, New York, people are very isolated. They're all in their little flat, and there are not many places unless they choose to, if they are Christian, they will go to a church or synagogue, or some will go regularly and almost in a sacred way to do yoga, to connect with the same group. But there is no really connection. So yeah, for me, bringing rituals, whatever it's for ourselves to start the day. Like for me, I start the day by, by connecting with everything around me, giving myself, preparing my energy, using Reiki and shamanism. Then I feel I'm connected to everything, and everything starts flowing. But yeah, I love doing circles, bringing people to.
You have a beautiful property where you bring people together to connect, and you host your beautiful offerings there. And that's in fact how I met you, when my girlfriend invited me along to one of your workshops a few years ago.
Yes.
Are you still creating these beautiful offerings, if anyone's interested?
Yes, I do. So I regularly, organize workshops, circle, women's circle, fire ceremony, and I teach Reiki almost every couple of weeks. On the weekend, there are things happening here, and I really believe, again, because of our connection, all of us, with nature, having this ability to come to a place which is a pristine environment, seems to be, it's close, it's warm by, so not far, but at the same time, you feel that you are almost, I don't know, traveling somewhere or in an island, because it's a very quiet and special place. So yeah, I create, there is always something happening here.
What offerings do you have at the moment for anyone that's listening in real time?
Yes, well, I teach Reiki, so the next Reiki one is early June, the first weekend of June, and all the other levels are following. I think I have before actually a Reiki master for the people who have done already the level 1 and 2, and that's soon in May, the weekend of the 21st of May. And I will hopefully run a shamanic fire ceremony for the full moon, if the weather is calming down. At the moment, it's very wet, but who knows what can happen before Sunday. And yeah, so lots of different things. And there is a journeying workshop happening in July. Yeah, so basically, yeah, there is always something on. I think for people interested by coming and visiting this place or doing a workshop, the best is probably to either follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or go and visit the website where everything is listed, and again feel if anything is calling them.
Can you share with us the name of your Instagram, Facebook and website where we can find you? And I'll also add it.
Yeah, 1111, and on Facebook, simply Living Inspired, the creative path. And the website is livinginspired.com.au.
Thank you so much for your time today, Chrstine. I've really enjoyed hearing your story. You are such a beautiful, you have beautiful energy. You are such a wise lady. And I do encourage anyone listening today, if you resonate with Chrstine, go and have a look at what she has to offer, because I'm sure that if your intuition is leading you this way, there's a reason for it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thanks to you, Kev, for inviting me to have a chat with you. It's really lovely to reconnect together too, because I really liked your energy when you came to my workshop, and we have crossed paths several times, so it's good to to get to know each other better.
We'll cross paths again, I'm sure.
Probably.